Good morning, YouTube. It's Tuesday, and I am bringing you a scrapbook process video for Mixed Media Friday with Miranda and Tuesday. And I'm going to leave information in the description bar below on how you can find Miranda's channel so you can hop over there and see her Mixed Media Friday. So I really love this series. It's been super fun. I'm going to continue doing this with Miranda. And I'm just starting with some super heavy gesso here from Liquitex. And the reason why I like super heavy gesso to do things like this is because when you pull it through a intricate stencil, it is very defined. So it has a lot of texture. It stands up on its own. It's not watery. It's not gritty. It is a fantastic thick paste. So I tried to add a little bit of pop art pink. It did nothing. Super heavy gesso is very, very white. And so I decided to grab some acrytones, which I haven't used since I got them. And my goal here is to make some, like a blushy type of pink, kind of a orange-based pink, in order to match the Pink and Cream Bouquets ephemera from Cheeky Studio. So that's the goal here. I am mixing it. It finally worked. I guess I could have pulled in some acrylic paint, but the acrytones worked well. And I grabbed one of my stencils from Balzer Designs. The Crafters Workshop makes them. And it's called Mini Flower Garden. And it's just a lovely, intricate stencil or template, I guess they call it. And so the super heavy gesso worked great for that type of stencil, and it's very detailed and delicate. So I love the way that turned out. I just put my excess in a little bowl that I get from the dollar spot down the street. So I decided to use a scrap of this red double dot paper from Bo Bunny. I had it left over on my desk, and actually some of the colors I pulled into my last layout, I used those scraps, and this was part of it. I wanted to use the pink and cream bouquet, so it worked out perfect because everything kind of turned out red and orange and peachy and pink. And I'm just kind of putting it off a little bit wonky on the page to add a little bit of dimension and just something different. And I really like how that turned out. I did get a really nasty paper cut right there. It really hurt. Oh, sorry, my head's in the way. And then I'm wearing my typical sarong for the summer. I love to wear sarongs, so that's usually the fringe you see hanging down. I fell in love with those in Hawaii. I've been a few times, and I just love them in the summer because I'm usually by the pool or in the studio, and I want to be comfy. So I decided to go back with this EK Success Punch because I really like doing this. I did this for years, and I'm kind of going back to it because it just adds that extra something. Usually I do it on two edges, but I had already taped this down with my trusty score tape. And if you use score tape, you know that it doesn't like to come up. So I don't remember the name of this punch, but it reminds me of a garden trellis, so that's why I used it. I'm going to end up tearing it up a little bit more just to give it a little more dimension, but here goes the packaging technique, and that is in the pop art pink. I'm going to use pop art pink, pretty in pink at the end. Pretty in pink is just going to be for some splatters, and Glorious Day, but the majority of my packaging technique is the pop art pink and Glorious Day. So just some really soft peachy pinks and yellows and golden colors in order to go with that picture. This is a picture of Colby and True. They went out for Colby's birthday. He is a New Year's Eve baby, and True got all dolled up, and they were going probably to her favorite place, knowing her. So there I'm showing you the dimension and how thick and how delicate and intricate that super heavy gesso pulls through a stencil like that. So, and that stencil is quite fine. So if you used anything that was liquidy, you're not going to see that kind of detail. Plus, it almost acts as a resist. When I add the packaging technique here, it's going to, go around the detail of that stencil. And whenever I go to wipe it up, it comes off of that super heavy gesso. So it's a little different than your typical gesso. So instead of absorbing that color, it's going to resist that color because it's so thick. And it's almost like it must have a vinyl type base or some type of proppant that allows it to resist like that. But I'd have to get into chemistry to figure that out. So let's stick to scrapbooking. So yeah, I'm just adding a little bit more, seeing where my picture goes. And I love how it turned out as far as the mixed media goes. And I will do some splatters at the end. Like I said, I'm grabbing some of those scraps that literally I just had sitting on my desk and had been in my scrap bin anyway. So as you know, I love to use scraps. Wasting a bunch of paper is just kind of not my thing. I even have trouble throwing away little bits of paper. And I don't know why. I have probably, 500,000 pieces of paper in this house. I'm probably exaggerating, but whatever. I have a lot. Let's just put it that way. You can see I tore that edge on the border punch a little bit more. And I think that turned out much better. It was just a little too clean with those lines on each side, so I wanted it to look more natural. And then I'm taking those scraps and just making some little flags and distressing the edges. And I'm going to lay those down. I cover most of that up, but I don't care because I like the way it looks. You can see it peeking through. And I know on my last video I was struggling with my mojo, but I tell you what I did. I went through some of my product and like my ephemera, and I was like, what do I want to do with this? Well, how do I want to do something unique and special with this? And it just kind of got my brain flowing, and I started thinking about placement and how I want to see it on the page. And then this picture came to mind. I did a little bit of photo editing and made it match just a little bit better. It was not the greatest picture, but I tried to clean it up. So that's kind of how I came up with this inspiration. I just wanted to use a ton of these flowers. That's why I make them, because they're so gorgeous. I love them. That black and white piece is going to come off. It's just too much of a contrast, and it takes away from the softness of the entire layout. So you see me pull that off. But I just wanted to make sure that there was like a huge bed of flowers for this layout. And that's exactly what I accomplished. And I love the way it turned out. So of course, with any kind of gesso, especially the heavy gesso, you want to make sure that you glue your items down. Not so much the shimmers causes the problem, it's the gesso, especially with that kind of dimension. And so I'm adding a little bit of thread behind some of the bouquets, and I'm adding glue to make sure that it sticks. And that also allows me to pop up a couple of these feathers and leaves and add some 3D foam behind it so that it looks a little more dimensional. So you're going to see me do that. And by the way, my paper cut still hurts from distressing the edge with my fingernail. I've learned my lesson, I think, for a few days. I'm going to have to use... I was eating popcorn last night, too, and the salt, oh my gosh, it was just painful on my finger. So don't distress with your fingernail, people. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So I did want my title to go around the picture, so I just added a little pencil line here with my circle ruler. And this is where I pulled in some Citrus Twist Kit ephemera and, well, not ephemera, embellishments is what I'm trying to think. I think this is from the Maggie Holmes line. This was from, I want to say the April kits, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me. Anyway, as usual, I didn't look, but it is from the Citrus Twist kits. It's kind of like, I need to dig into my stash more, because what I do is I just pull my Citrus Twist kits because I feel like I need to use them, and then I pull Cheeky product, and that's all I need. I need those two things, and or just a plain American Crafts white cardstock or a pattern paper. I mean, and then Cheeky does all the work. It's like, it's fantastic. But I want to use up some of my kits, so I definitely incorporated them here. And you're going to see me fuss and mess with this title. I love the place. I love moments where it's placed. That worked out well. I spared you the trouble of watching me try to figure out this title because it just wasn't working. But I ended up figuring it out. So, and then Alan, aka Bab, came in and said, "To love you, tweet." I was like, oh my gosh, baby. No, it's love you and so sweet. And he goes, oh. So that was kind of entertaining. So hopefully that's not how it reads to you as a title. But the good thing about these epoxy stickers is they're able to bend just a little bit. So I was able to manipulate them to make it on the circle. I just erased the circle as I went along. It was basically just for placement. But I end up gluing that Love You and So Sweet down because it does try to move out of place on me. I guess epoxy's not really supposed to bend, but you know, I kind of helped it along, and then I end up gluing it down. So epoxy likes to fall off anyway. It's always a good idea to glue it down. I've got albums from years ago where the epoxy's just all at the bottom of the page, and I'm like, great, it's, you know, kind of curled up and gnarly looking, and I end up throwing it away if I find it in the bottom of a page because it frustrates me, and I don't usually go back and fix my layouts because not only do I do this for memory keeping, I do it for the enjoyment of the process. So that triangle punch is a 2-inch punch from Hobby Lobby from Paper Studio. So it's their brand, and I just grabbed a couple of more scraps. And then the bow is pink paisley, Paige Evans. You know what? I can't, seriously. So I've always been confused with the Dear Lizzie lines, the Maggie Helms lines, the Paige Evans lines. They all look so much alike that I don't know if they're Turn the Page or So Lovely or Saturday. I can't keep up with that. And they don't put the name of the collection on the packaging. I'm so confused by that. You would think that they would want you to know it's the Flourish collection so you could go buy it. But they don't. And it just says Paige Evans Pink Paisley. Oh, actually, this one does say pink, Pick Me Up now that I'm reading it. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm wrong. Some of it is labeled and some of it is not. I know for sure that the Maggie Helms was not, because I was like, why don't they label this? I don't know what collection this is from, and it all looks the same. So I love their products. I mean, I think they're beautiful, but I can't ever keep up with what's what. I have a very busy life, let's put it that way. So keeping up with names of every collection is not my forte. So in Cheeky Studio, I label everything because I'm terrible about that. And I don't have the greatest memory, but that's another story. What else do I do here? I add a pink and cream bouquets flare, and it says love. And I'm trying to find some little bits and pieces. Those puffy stickers were pink paisley, Paige Evans. And here's where I go in and finish the pretty in pink splatters. I thought it needed a little bit of a pop. Now I'm going to go back and add some stamping because they were going to dinner. So I'm going to pull out my Adirondack and peach Bellini, and I'm going to add the word dinner, and then I'm going to grab my trusty Heidi Swap roller state damp and add the date, and that's going to finish the layout. So I think I've got my mojo back. I really, really like how this turned out. I feel very inspired. I want to do more scrapbooking. There's just so many hours in the day, so I'm doing my best. I love, love, love to scrapbook, but I love, love, love design work as well. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, please do that. It's Cheeky Studio Group. What else? I guess that's about it. Check out Miranda's channel. Oh, I was going to say, we are going to start having some exclusive videos on the Cheeky Studio YouTube channel. And there's always new releases there, so you don't want to miss that. I'm going to start moving things to that Facebook page and that video channel for some exclusives. So make sure you thumbs up, sign up, and check out Miranda's Mixed Media Friday. I will talk to you later. Ta-ta for now. Bye.